AEW President Tony Khan is still not over CM Punk. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm talking about. Because CM Punk, he's in fact been gone from AEW for a while now. He's been back in WWE for a while now. But he still holds a grudge regarding this. You have to keep in mind that CM Punk not only returned to wrestling, thanks in large part because of Tony Khan, but CM Punk was the white whale in a lot of ways for Tony. CM Punk was a guy that Tony Khan, he wanted to sign when he first launched AEW in 2019. He was planning it in 2018. He was looking to bring CM Punk into his promotion. Before he had a TV deal, before he had any major stars, he was looking to get CM. And when they launched in 2019, he made offer to CM Punk. But fortunately, it didn't go. Punk has talked about how it didn't go. He didn't like the fact that he had a text message with it all from the EDB. He didn't like that. And you could say, well, so, hey, don't answer that. Well, eventually, in 2012, CM Punk made it AEW. He was made AEW shot in Washington. And on television wasn't on suspended scene of wait. Just taken by the W up there. So the television. But we think that it was public. At the time for Jack Perry instead. People forget he was pretending to be the AEW World Heavyweight Champion at the time of his suspension. He had actually had a really good feud with Samoa Joe. His match at All In Wembley Stadium in August of 2023 was really good. That was a really good opening match. AEW's biggest pay-per-view event to date in terms of attendance.
So why does Tony Khan still hold a grudge with CM Punk? Well, let's go back, because Tony Khan is holding a grudge against one of AEW's top prospects in Jack Perry following Punk's departure. Perry has not been seen or heard from on AEW television following the incident with CM Punk at All In last August. Well, what was this issue? The incident resulted in Perry being suspended by AEW. It resulted in Punk being released by the company. Now, Perry has started wrestling for New Japan, but remains under contract with All Elite Wrestling. The incident with Punk was after Punk advised Perry not to use real glass for a segment on television. I believe it was for a Collision event. Now, keep in mind, this was at the time where CM Punk was exclusive to the Collision show. The idea was, okay, Punk, you are going to be exclusive to this brand. You're going to be the face of this brand. You're not really going to appear on Dynamite that often. If fans want to tune in, they have to watch Collision to see you. We're going to bring over your buddies, FTR and a couple other guys. And then it turned into an S show, because then reports started coming out that Punk was trying to control things backstage, telling people what they shouldn't do, telling people who they could or could not bring with them, who could or could not attend freaking Collision shows. They had to separate the roster because he couldn't get along with certain people. The Young Bucks reportedly, and Kenny Omega reportedly, refused to take a meeting with Punk and hash out their differences and draw some serious cash money with a feud. So much stuff, right? And Jack Perry's a young guy. He's, at the time, recently doing his heels stick. He's feuding with Hook. He wanted to use real glass for a segment. Punk's like, dude, that's stupid. Why are you doing this? Like, use sugar glass. Use alternative glass. Don't use real glass. What are you doing? And Perry, being a young, inexperienced guy, took that as an offense, which is a moronic thing to do. Punk overstepped his bounds. He shouldn't have said anything to the kid. But Perry was in the wrong here. So, fast forward all in. Jack Perry's working a pre-show match with Hook. They do a spot on the windshield of a car. And then he looks into the camera and he makes a reference to the glass. I think he said, "That's real glass," which led to a physical altercation between CM Punk and Jack Perry right afterwards. Moments before Punk was supposed to walk through the curtain, step inside the squared circle, and wrestle Samoa Joe. And he got into an incident with Tony Khan, reportedly. Not to shelf over on the poor man, right? And Tony Khan looking at it like, okay, he's had issues with Hangman Page. Okay, he's had issues with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. And now he has an incident with Jungle Boy Jack Perry. He didn't handle any of those situations right? He shot on Hangman Page during a live TV segment. He got into a fist fight with the Elite backstage. Then he got into a physical altercation with Jungle Boy Jack Perry when Punk could have just went up to Khan and said, "Hey, I think this guy needs to be taught a lesson, like suspend him, do something," right? Well, Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio, what's going on with Jack Perry and AEW? Brian Alvarez said that he wasn't fired. Dave Meltzer said that Jack Perry hasn't been fired. They're just not using him. Brian Alvarez said he's just iced. Meltzer said Tony's really mad at him because he cost CM Punk. He cost him CM Punk. He's getting the blame. He probably should have been suspended for a month or two. Where are we at? 7 months now? It's ridiculous. The punishment doesn't fit the crime at this point. I mean, it's like it's his fault because the other guy just lost his mind. Alvarez added, I was going to mean like he didn't cost Tony CM Punk. CM Punk cost Tony. CM Punk, by getting into a fight over this, Punk could have just got to Tony and said, suspend this dude. That's unprofessional. And that would have been it. End quote. And he's 100% right. There was no reason for Punk really to have this incident. He handled it wrong. Jack Perry handled it wrong. But if you didn't have the events leading up to it, then Punk would have still been around. Now you could make the case, well, Tony Khan didn't have to fire him. He's just golden boy. Why is he going to fire him? Well, you have to control, like the narrative at the time was horrendous for Tony Khan, right? Everybody's like, oh, well, the Punk can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, Tony Khan. And there was a lot of morale issues. Some people thought that Punk was trying to return to WWE, which in fact he was. He went to a Monday Night Raw event. They had talks in December of 2022, about him returning, despite the fact that he was under contract with AEW. He desperately wanted to go back to WWE. So, Tony Khan gave him what he wanted. But he lost his biggest star in the process. It was just a complete S show. But yeah, Tony Khan is still not over CM Punk. Wow.